Slope and rate of change. So these two triangles off to the side, what measurement do they have in common? Which would be what, though, as far as measuring? The height. Right? It's the height of the two triangles. What measurement do they have that is different? The length or the width, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to say length. And so because of this, which of these appears to be steeper? Steeper.
Oh, B.
Which one, A or B?
B.
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 B. Because the height is the same.
No, length is less.
But the length is greater, or shorter, actually. Okay, I misspelled height.
Finally being shorter is
Okay, because the height is the same, but the length is shorter. So that makes it look steeper. Okay, and so we're really going to focus on two ideas, and the math behind the two ideas is relatively simple. And one of them is not really even math, it's just an observation. And so slope and types of slope. So if I want to find the slope, we're going to first define it, and then we'll talk about how to find it with the graph. So when a relationship is graphed, linear relationship is graphed, the slope is used to describe the steepness of a line. Okay, the steepness of a line. And it turns out it's a simple concept. And all we need to do is take the ratio of the vertical change and compare that to the horizontal change. And that's where we get this idea of rise over run. Rise over run. Vertical means what? Up and down. And on the coordinate plane, that's associated with which variable, x or y? Up and down is associated with y. So then horizontal, as Chloe was already saying, is left and right. And that corresponds to what variable? X. Okay, so just as a reminder, x is the left-right movement, and y is the up-down movement. And so the slope is equal to, the slope is equal to the ratio of change in y over change in x. And this symbol is maybe not something you're familiar with. It's the Greek letter delta. It means change in. Okay. Change in, and that is a pretty common symbol used in math. Okay. We'll come back to that idea in just a second after we look at the types of slope. So there's 4 different types of slope, and it has to do with what x and y are doing. Okay, so as x moves to the right, it's increasing, and y is also increasing. And so when they're both increasing, then the slope is positive. Okay. And so if x is increasing again, if x is increasing, but y is decreasing, then that's a negative slope. And so a horizontal line is going to be something slightly different because rise over run is where I'm getting these slopes from. Change in y over change in x. What's the change in y on a horizontal line? 0 divided by any number is what? So the slope for a horizontal line should be 0. So it goes back to the formula, how we defined it, change in y over change in x. Same thing with vertical line, change in y over change in x equals, well, whatever number, doesn't matter, the change in y, but is there a change in x?
No.
No, so that would be 0. So what's any number divided by 0?
0.
Undefined. We don't know how to divide by 0. Undefined. Right? If I divide something and I say 1, right? I'm dividing the group into one group. I can't divide something into 0 groups. It doesn't make sense. Right? It doesn't make sense. And that's why division of 0 doesn't work, is because you can't divide something into nothing. Okay? So it's undefined. So let's look at how do we find this from a graph. Later we'll look at how we find it from a table. Choose 2 points on the graph. Draw a right triangle to count the rise and the run. So pick 2 points, draw the right triangle, and then set up our ratio of rise over run. What always goes in the numerator? Rise, and always goes in the denominator, run. So let's do that, and then we'll come back to the other 2 pieces at the bottom. So I need to pick 2 points. So which is a good point to pick?
2.
2, 4. Well, you said 2 first, and you always say the x value first, so that's why I went to 2, 4. So what's another point?
6, 5.
6, 5 is not a point. 4, 8 is a point. Okay, well, we'll do 4, 8 because I heard it. And now I need to draw a triangle, but I can't draw any kind of triangle I want. That's not a good triangle. I have to draw a right triangle. So that means follow the grid. Just draw up, draw over, and now you have a right triangle. So all I did was pick a point, and I drew a vertical line at the point, and then I picked the other point and drew a horizontal line. So draw 2 lines, and then now I have
I found a triangle.
a triangle. Okay, so we've done part 1 where we put the points on there. We've done part 2 where we drew the triangle, but part 2b is to count. 1, 2, 3 to that line. So 4, and then from here 1, 2 to that line is 2. Okay, which piece is rise? 4, the y piece, the piece that moves up and down. So the 4. What piece is run? 2. And so we have a slope of 4 over 2. But we have to do this last part. So the last part is to double check that the graph is it positive or is it negative?
Positive.
Okay, so going back to the previous 2, does it look like this or does it look like this?
Positive.
Okay, it goes up, it's positive, so we don't have to do anything else. We could reduce. What's 4 over 2? 4 over 2, not 2 over 4. Okay? And that's it. That's really all this is. All this is can you draw a triangle and count up and down, left and right, and then tell me positive or negative? Okay, that draw a triangle, count, positive, negative, and we're done. So number 1, pick 2 points. Now, I guess I should say this because there was some issue picking points. When I say pick a point, I mean exactly on the grid. It must be where 2 lines cross on the grid. Okay? Otherwise, you don't know what the value of those points are.
2, 7.
Okay?
2, 8.
2, 7 is a point.
6.
And sorry, what was the other one?
4, 6.
4, 6 is a good point. Okay, now I'm going to pick a random one to draw a vertical line. Draw. And the other one is horizontal. I just draw 2 lines. Up, down, left, right. Up, down, left, right. Okay, so Karis says it's negative, and that's because it's going down. So that's great. We have the negative piece already. But now we need to do what with our triangle? Count. So how far did it move?
1.
How far did it move?
2.
So which one is rise? Which one is run? 1 over 2.
Ooh, yes.
Okay. Now, we don't have to do number 2 at all. Why do we not have to do number 2 at all? Because it's
0.
0. Okay. If we flip back to the previous page, horizontal is 0. 0. Horizontal is 0. Horizontal is 0. Horizontal is 0. It's a 0 slope. Okay. Try number 3, 4, 5, 6 by yourself. So when we look at number 3, we have to notice, well, you know what? I'll wait. I could pick any of those points, and then I can draw my triangle here. I could draw my triangle here. I could even draw a big triangle if I wanted to draw a big triangle. Some of you did the big one, some of you did the small one, but that's not where the mistake is. How many is it from here to here?
2.
6.
What?
Why is it 6? Because I'm counting by 3s,
Brother.
right? So it's 6. Now, if you did the one that was all the way up here, that would have been 12.
Could I have done it on the other side? Like
Sure, of course. It doesn't matter which side. And this would be the bottom. Yep. So this would be 1.
Mr. Hill.
And this would be
I put
2.
1 over 6, and you said do it again.
I did, because what goes on top? Rise over run.
Oh.
So even though you got the 6 right, you put it in the wrong location, right? Yeah. So 6 over 1, because it's up and down first, then left and right second.
No, I think the rest are correct, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, as we look at number 4, we can pick any 2 points along the line. So how about -2, -6, and 0, -3.
I got 3 over 2.
So Hayden says that he got 3 over 2. So I mean, so far
That's not.
I've got the same thing. So 3 over 2.
I got 3 over 2, but I didn't do that. I did -3, and then I chose +2.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you choose on the line. As long as you're picking points, it'll be the same when we reduce. Okay, let me do that intentionally on this one. I'll pick that point and that point. I'm pretty sure no one did that. I'm pretty sure everyone either picked this one or this one. So if I go up and I go over, how far up did I go?
2.
4. 1, 2, but they're going by 2s, so that's 4. And then how far did I go in X? This time it is actually 8. So 8. And then rise over run says what? 4 over 8, which is the same thing as 1/2, or 2 over 4. Okay? So 2 over 4, 1/2, 4/8, 8/16. Anything that you get that's 1/2 would be equivalent. It's just a fancy word for the same, right? Okay, last one. Pick
Can I
2
do it?
points. Sure.
1 and -2, and then
You mean -2, 1? We say x first.
oh yeah, that is
Okay,
X.
and then?
-4 and oh wait, never mind. -5 and 5, +5.
Okay, so now what?
And you don't count over.
Okay. So what's the rise over run? 4 over 3, but this is negative. Okay. Why is it negative? Because the whole line is decreasing. It's going down, going down. Okay, so let's look at Luis and his mistake. Luis thinks that the slope is 1/2. Why is he incorrect?
Let's find out.
I can solve it. 10 over 2.
Okay, so there's a lot of different options here. You could do the 2 points I did. You could go up and you could do a larger triangle. But I'm going to stick with the small one. From here to here is how many? 5. And from here to here is how many? 2. So 5 over 2. And so what was his mistake?
The y-axis went up by 5. He didn't put that.
Yeah, he didn't take into account the scale on the y-axis. Okay, he didn't take the scale into account on the y-axis. Sure, you could say he didn't read the graph correctly. Yep. And, you know, it's easy to make that mistake. Most of you made that mistake on number 3. And that's how you learn to not make it again, is by doing it. Okay, so this is a bagel selling shop. And as customers come in and buy things, they reduce the number of bagels they have. Makes sense. So if I'm going to pick a point. Why not pick the easiest one that's on the end? And then I'm going to pick another easy one right here. Why do you think I picked that one and said it was easy?
Because it goes up by 100.
Because I saw that the top was 250, and so I picked 150 because I knew the change from 250 to 150 was 100. So I intentionally picked that because I wanted that easy number, 100. So if you can identify things like that, you can do that as well. So vertical, horizontal, and we already said that this distance was 100. And then what is the run? What is the value it's counting by at the bottom? 10, 20, 30. So at the bottom it's counting by tens, so that would be 20. Yes, and I heard that, and I'll make sure to mention it. 100 over 20, but it's a negative value because it's decreasing. And so what's that value? -5. That means these customers are buying 5 bagels each, which seems like a lot. Okay? Okay, so the assignment is the next page over, and the first 6 are just vocabulary.